Well, welcome back, and we're going to talk to Major Tom Haviland again today. Now, it's only been a few days, Tom, so thank you for your patience in coming back again.
Well, John, welcome me. Thanks for having me back on the channel. Appreciate it.
And the reason we've done this is we looked at some data that you've generated just a few days ago, and then we put this QR code onto the screen so people could log on to the survey for themselves. And we've had, how many more people have given data, Tom, so far?
An astounding number, Dr. Campbell, and we'll get into that in the slides. Yeah, what we did is 2 days ago, we did a video where I had talked to Clayton Morris of Redacted, and his audience, he displayed a QR code for them to take the survey, and they took that survey, and 148 people responded to it. Well, now we have 864 people total responding to the survey, thanks to you and the wonderful.
Well, thanks to the viewers, Tom. Yeah,
they came through big time, Dr. Campbell, and responded in a big way to share their thoughts on whether they or anybody that they know have had clotting problems that started after January of 2020. Yeah.
So here we've got data from what, 654 people,
right? And plus the 30 you said, the 30 that took the survey again should not have taken it, right? Because it's really for people that have had blood clotting problems or know somebody that had blood clotting problems since January 2020.
But that's okay. Your job is to put the data up, which you have done. So
right.
Remember, let's go dive straight into the first question then. Just before we do that, Tom, just tell us about where people are from who completed this survey.
Yeah, they're from all over, Dr. Campbell. We had folks from, of course, the United States, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. We also had folks from Norway, Germany, Belgium, Sweden, Finland, Spain, Portugal, France, Netherlands, Switzerland, Italy, Poland, Romania, Brazil, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Mexico, South Africa, North Macedonia, the Faroe Islands, Mumbai, Indonesia, Israel, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Dr. Campbell, you have fans all over the world that watch your show. Well, and you know what? It's a tribute to you because they trust you. They come to you because they know they can get the straight information. So God bless you for that.
No, it's great that people have responded to the survey, but tragic that this problem seems to be so widespread is my reaction to that, Tom, really, that this seems to be in many
happening all over the world.
Many different locations. Right, so this is your latest data on question 3. Take us through this, Tom, if you don't mind.
Sure. Again, we asked what years mark all that apply that have you or the person that you know had these blood clotting issues.
Yeah.
And what's really standing out there again, John, as it did when we did the first interview, is the very short bar in the year 2020, which, as you know, is a year that we had COVID, but no vaccines yet.
Yes.
You know, this is telling me very little people actually had blood clotting problems the year of 2020. But then, as you can see, the bars explode starting in 2021 going forward, with almost
very few in 2020.
Times as many people, having blood clotting problems.
Now, well, one of the things that I was slightly concerned about last time, and we did flag this up, Tom, was the relatively low numbers in the original data. So here we see that here,
Right.
The original.
We only had 148 before.
Yeah.
But now, like I said, we have 684, so we have many more responses.
Yeah. But what we're seeing is a very similar trend, indicating that this original data was probably reasonably accurate, because if we look at the length of the bars there for 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, from your original small sample data, and then we look at the outline of the bars from the larger sample data, we see a great deal of consistency, I think it has to be said.
And I saw that same consistency throughout all the questions, Dr. Campbell.
Yeah.
So it gives me confidence that initial survey of the 148 that responded is very representative of the larger sample of 684.
So the key thing that we're seeing here is that a great increase in reporting of blood clots from 2021.
Yeah, from 2020 to 2021 going forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's confirmed by the next slide. If you want to go to the next question, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
We just flat out asked the person, did the person with the clots take the COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah.
As you can see, 624 people said yes, only 39 said no. So that kind of backs up. And I say this slide, speaks for itself.
And again, very consistent with the previous slide based on the smaller data, the smaller sample size.
Correct. There was also over 90% of the people had taken the vaccine.
And of course, all you need to do is scan that barcode in. And you can add more data, Tom, presumably to your spreadsheet if more data comes in. If more
Absolutely, we'll take it. Yeah, the more the merrier. Well, actually, maybe not the merrier. The more
more valid. It becomes more valid.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Now, question 5, Tom, if you take us through that, please.
Yeah, we asked the survey takers what years, mark all that apply, did the person with the clots take the COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah.
And again, there was a short bar for December of 2020. The shots came out that last month of 2020. And some people took them, but the masses of people took them starting in 2021 when they were made available to the public in mass. And then the bar started to get shorter in 2022, 2023, 2024. And as I said earlier, that matches perfectly what the CDC has said. Here in America, 80% of American adults over the age of 18 took at least the first 2 jabs back in 2021. Only about 20% of American adults over the age of 18 took the BA4, BA5 bivalent Omicron booster in the fall of 2022.
Yeah.
And then only about 10% of American adults over the age of 18 took the XBB 1.5 booster that came out last fall of 2023. So this matches the CDC's information, and it gives me confidence, right, that your viewers are answering and responding to the survey accurately.
Yeah, and the consistency with the previous smaller participant size survey as well. There's quite a lot of consistencies here, really.
Right.
In this data. Question 6, Tom.
Yeah, we
asked
asked
larger sample size.
Yeah, how soon did the person develop the blood clotting issue after taking the COVID-19 vaccine? 59 people responded less than 2 weeks. 53 people said between 2 weeks and a month. 154 said between 1 month to 6 months. 117 said between 6 months and a year. And then 168 said greater than 1 year. Again, this corroborates our theory that it may take anywhere between 6 to 18 months or maybe even longer for these white fibrous clots to grow to the size where they become life-threatening or noticeable, where they can cause a stroke or heart attack. So, again...
And again, if we just look at the previous slide on the smaller sample size, on question 6, we see a similarity, don't we, in the proportions?
Correct. Yeah.
Which is carried on, which is, in fact, that's remarkably...
pretty close.
Similar shaped lines, isn't it? Really quite remarkable there. Yeah. Interesting. For a much, much larger sample.
Right.
Yeah. Question 7, Tom.
Question 7, we asked, the blood clotting issue was in what part of the body? Mark all that apply. Yeah. Legs was the number 1 answer. 280 people said legs. 182 said lungs, followed by brain, 163, then heart, then abdomen, and then we had a catch-all for nose, eye, arm, uterus, other locations. And what is interesting about this, Dr. Campbell, is that this matches very closely the CDC's vSafe free text field information.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. The CDC has 2 systems, VAERS, and then one called vSafe, which was a downloadable program on your smartphone. And 10 million Americans did download that program to talk about their vaccine experience. Yeah. About 8% of those people that downloaded it actually experienced a negative side effect that was severe enough that they had to go to urgent care, the emergency room, or schedule a doctor's appointment. Now, the Del Bigtree and the folks at ICANN, the Informed Consent Action Network, they FOIA'd the CDC to get the free text field data out of that vSafe system. The CDC did not want to turn it over, but a judge made them do it. And they've been receiving that information in hundreds of thousands of records every month. And I've been going through those records in the form of an Excel spreadsheet and searching on the term blood clot. And when I do that, I tabulate where the blood clot was located. And sure enough, legs is the number 1 answer, followed by lungs, and then the others. So, again, this gives me confidence that your people responding to the survey are responding accurately, because the data that we're showing here is matching perfectly what the CDC is seeing.
And again, we don't know the pathological mechanisms in these individuals, so we can't say that there's a causal relationship here. But it is rather strange that we've got another 500 correlations to add to the 140 correlations you had before. There's an awful lot of correlations.
And we have one more correlation as well. The embalmers told me that there's, and the vascular surgeons, that are, the two whistleblowers that myself and Dr. McMillan have come across have said that two of the most common clotting locations are deep vein thrombosis in the legs, and then saddle PEs, pulmonary embolisms, up in the lungs. So,
Indeed. Question 8, the resolution, Tom. What was this thinking?
Yeah, the good news is that 52 people said that the clot went away on its own, and another 189 people said that they were able to dissolve the clot using clot-busting drugs like TPA that we mentioned the other day.
Yeah.
But the problem is about 2/3 of the people are having problems still. 191 people say that the blood clot's not been resolved yet. Another 127 people said they had to have the clot physically removed or surgically removed. And I'm guessing most of those are probably the white fibrous variety, because you cannot break those up with the clot-busting drugs. And then another 112 people actually passed away, sadly, before they were able to remove the clot. So if you tally it all up, about 1/3 of the people had a happy ending with either the clot going away by itself or using clot-busting drugs, but 2/3 of the people, had trouble with either the clots. They still have the clot, they had to have it physically removed, or the person passed away. So it's still a serious problem.
Oh yeah, it's quite possible here we're seeing a combination of red and white clots, isn't it? Because if it was resolved with the clot-busting drugs, that means it was red blood clot, because these are thrombolytic.
In my last worldwide embalmer blood clot survey, Dr. Campbell, the embalmers did respond that in 2023 they saw grape jelly clots in about 40% of their corpses. Yes. And I asked them, what did you used to see prior to 2019, prior to the pandemic? Yeah. And it was about 30% of their corpses. So there was an increase, during the pandemic and the current years. So that correlates and does not surprise me that there's an increase, and also an increase in the viscosity of the grape jelly clots as well. The embalmers say they're more like grape jam now than grape jelly.
Yeah. And also we know the embalmers have seen an increase in what they call dirty blood, which is lots of small blood clots diffused throughout. That's an evidence of
microclotting, right, that we talked about. Yeah, dirty blood or coffee grounds.
Yeah. Yep. Question 9.
Question 9. If the person's clot was physically removed by a doctor, would you be willing to share that doctor's name? And I know last time we talked, you said you were bothered by this question, maybe the most of all.
Yeah.
Because only about 1/10, out of the 684 people who responded to the survey, less than 10% of them, 67, said yes, I would be willing to reveal my doctor's name. So it's like they don't want to get their doctor in trouble. They don't want to, because they know that he might, get in trouble if he mentions anything negative about the clotting and potential of the vaccines being involved.
It's almost as if that people understand the rules without having the rules ever been written down.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
Not a good situation.
Well, I think it's quite impressive that the massively larger sample size, I would say, substantiated the ratios that you'd already identified, Tom. So well done. It's a tidy data set. And if we get another few hundred people or another 1,000 people, that would be better, because the more valid the data would become.
Absolutely, Dr. Campbell.
If you are in this position, or fortunately in this position, or have been in this position, or know someone in this position, then it's a noble thing to share that data, I believe.
And boy, did your folks,
even though each one represents individual personal suffering.
Right, and your folks, they opened up, Dr. Campbell, and we've got hundreds of just very, very sad statements at the end. We allow our folks to make comments at the very end of the survey in an open text forum if they want to tell us more about their particular situation of themselves or their loved one. And I'd like to read off. I've got about 8 of them here.
We'll look at some of those. Yeah. Just a couple of comments before we do that, Tom. First is, why is it necessary for you to collect this data? Why hasn't it been done by our governments and regulatory bodies? That's an open question. Viewers will have their own view on that.
You know, here's a letter of rejection letter I received back from the British Institute of Embalmers, who declined to take part in my last embalmer blood clot survey. Yeah. I had similar responses from the societies for vascular surgery around the world. The one in the United States here is called the U.S. Society for Vascular Surgery. It's headquarters in Rosemont, Illinois. Has 6,300 members, Dr. Campbell. They sent me back an email saying, we decline participation in your survey. And I think they're violating their very own mission statements by doing that. Because their mission statements say that they are supposed to do research in problems affecting vascular surgery. And my goodness, these white fibrous clots and the microclotting and these other issues are definitely affecting vascular surgery.
I mean, internal audit should be completely routine. We always audited surgical patients to see what was going on, amount of side effects and adverse reactions and time of recovery and time of hospitalization. That was just routine auditing data.
Yeah, so because the vascular surgeons and their societies, their professional organizations refuse to participate in a special survey I built for them, I said, well, I'm going to go to the other end and see what the patients are dealing with. So that's why we started surveying the patients.
Indeed. And also, if you just take the comments on the last video that we recorded on this, Tom, there's so many, as you say, moving comments there that is ample amount of data for a very thorough qualitative evaluation of the reports to that video. And it's just a pity that no academics seem to be taking up this qualitative challenge, because there are plenty of people well able to do qualitative research, and the data is all sitting there, rich data, just waiting to be analysed. And normally academics, you would think, would be chomping at the bit for this, because they could generate papers from this really quite quickly, readily and easily, and academics live and die by the amount of papers they publish, and we don't see anyone doing that, which just seems...
No. I invite the scientific community, I invite them to contact me at thomashavland@sbcglobal.net if they want to collaborate to do a scientific paper with the results of these surveys.
Yeah. So, well, there's that, and the qualitative analysis of just the comments, just people's comments.
Right, and there are organizations that have been capturing that kind of information. I think there's an organization here in the United States called React 19. Yeah. And they're a place that people can go if they've been vaccine injured, and they've got hundreds and hundreds of stories of people who have been vaccinated.
It is. It's just a pity it's not transposing into the research publications that we would normally expect to see.
Well, it's a shame.